Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Subhadra Mae Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Gaur Premanande. Ki Jai. It's being projected. The shloka is being projected in the on the. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. The reading today from the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, text number 14. Tasmadekena manasa bhagava Tasmadekena manasa Bhagavan Satvatam Patihi Bhagavan Satvatam Patihi Shrotavyah Kirtitavyascha Shrotavyah Kirtitavyascha Dhyayah Pujyascha Nityada Dhyayah Pujyascha Nityada Tasmadekena manasa Bhagavan Satvatam Patihi Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha Dhyayah Pujyascha Nityada. Anyone would like to recite? Dhyayah Pujyascha Nityada Tasmadekena manasa Bhagavan Satvatam Patihi Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha Dhyayah Pujyascha Nityada. Mataji's. Bhagavan Satvatam Pujyascha Nityada. Word to word translation. Tasmat, therefore, ekena, by one, manasa, attention of the mind, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Satvatam, of the devotees, Patihi, protector, Shrotavyaha, is to be heard, Kirtitavyaha, to be glorified, Cha, and Dhyeyaha, to be remembered, Pujyaha, to be worshipped, Cha, and Nityada, constantly. Translation and purport by Srivendra Sesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. Purport. If realization of the absolute truth is the ultimate aim of life, it must be carried out by all means. If in any one of the above mentioned castes and orders of life, the four processes, namely glorifying, hearing, remembering, and worshipping, are general occupations. Without these principles of life, no one can exist. Activities of the living being involve engagements in these four different principles of life. Especially in modern society, all activities are more or less dependent on hearing and glorifying. Any man from any social status becomes a well-known man in human society within a very short time if he is simply glorified truly or falsely in the daily newspapers. Sometimes political leaders of a particular party are also advertised by newspaper propaganda. And by such a method of glorification, an insignificant man becomes an important man within no time. But such propaganda by false glorification of an unqualified person cannot bring about any good, either for the particular man or for the society. There may be some temporary reactions to such propaganda, but there are no permanent effects. Therefore, such activities are a waste of time. The actual object of glorification is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has created everything manifested before us. We have broadly discussed this fact from the beginning of the Janmadhyasya shloka of this Bhagavatam. The tendency to glorify others or hear others must be turned to the real object of glorification, the Supreme Being, and that will bring happiness. Om Tat Sat. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangulangayate girim yatkrupatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyameshwaram. Hare Krishna, thank you so very much for assembling today. It looks like it's a regular Sunday morning, but it is Dwadashi after Nirjala Ekadashi. I seek the blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas so that I'll be able to speak something that is relevant to our practice of bhakti. Prabhuji is there. I wish he spoke giving an energetic class. I may not be able to give an energetic class like him, but we'll blame it on yesterday's Nirjala Ekadashi. Otherwise, I also can. I'm still recovering from Nirjala Ekadashi. Okay. So last few Sundays, we have been discussing from this series of the six limbs of Sharanagati. And we have already discussed the first two, Anukulyasya Sankalpa, Pratikulyasya Varjanam. Accepting what is favorable for Krishna consciousness, number one. The number two was rejecting what is not favorable to the execution of devotional service. And today we are supposed to discuss the third one, Raksisyatiti Visvaso. That what that means is to have the faith that Krishna will certainly protect me and maintain me, Rakshan. So the first two items of this six items are action items. That is something that we have to execute. We have to accept. Accept means even if you accept prasad, there is an action of eating, honoring, and then accepting any service that comes to us. and then rejecting something that is not favorable. These are all action items, something doing or not refraining from doing. Now, from the third item onwards, it is more of an internal component, to have the deep conviction that whatever I do, whatever I accept, and whatever I pratikulyasya, varjanam, whatever I refuse, that will not compromise my safety, security. In other words, Krishna will certainly protect me. Now, all of us, not just devotees, everybody in this material world, there is hard struggle for existence. Why is there hard struggle for existence? Because we are trying to survive in an environment which is very, very detrimental for survival. Just to stay afloat in the struggles of material life, we have to really beat our hands and legs so much. It is not an easy floating. And Prabhupada mentions this phrase in the purport: we are trying to exist in an atmosphere of non-existence, right? So we can see around us that is not most of the things, almost all the things are non-existent. We may question, Prabhuji, how can you say that it's all non-existent? That is because when compared to the tendency, the kind of existence we are aspiring for, there is aspirational existence and there is observational existence. Our aspirational existence is eternal. We don't want our hair to fall. We don't want our hair to become gray. We don't want to become weak. We want to maintain our body in the same health. We want to maintain our positions in the same condition and develop, improve, multiply more and more. But the atmosphere is non-existence. It is very fleeting. Whatever we achieve and acquire are all taken away, sooner or later. So there is always an anxiety for protecting or protection of our body and so many extensions of the body, family, relatives, and then acquisitions, achievements, name, fame, glorification, credits, certificates, and it's just an unending list like that. And we are all trying to protect our body, as I mentioned, starting from the little comb that we use to three-stage passcode, what is that called? Three-factor authentication of our bank accounts and everything. So there's hard struggle for protection. Okay? And the tendency for protection is so deeply ingrained in us because we have spent many lifetimes in this material world. Somebody who keeps getting slapped every time they go to a particular corner. So even if there is no slap coming, there is going to be an anticipation, right? So even when we come to Krishna consciousness, first day, first month, first year, first lifetime, few more lifetimes, that anticipation will be there, that I have to work hard, I have to devise, I have to scheme and strategize my protection. That faith that Krishna will protect me, no matter what, will take a long time to come. Again, all of us have felt this, that yes, Krishna will protect me. It's easy for us to say, yes, Krishna will protect me. And many of us have realized that Krishna has protected us many occasions. Okay. Now it's reciprocal. The sense, depending on the proportion of the threat, the degree of protection and the degree of threat, and the kind of risks that we take in our lives, material life or spiritual life, and the kind of protection we anticipate, we expect should be matching. We take extreme risks and the protection is so low, we lose our faith. Now, one time, Srila Prabhupada, there was one devotee. He somehow heard from some devotees who were close to Srila Prabhupada that Prabhupada was thinking of making him the temple president of one particular temple. He did not want that. He wanted to be free. He wanted to travel from temple to temple, from yatra to yatra, and do preaching and little seva. So he wrote 5-6 pages of reasons why he should not be made the temple president. So he was very well prepared. Any question that Prabhupada would ask, he had answer ready. And because he heard that soon Prabhupada is going to ask him, before Prabhupada was about to leave that town, leave that city. So he knows it is coming. Prabhupada is going to do it before he leaves because flight tickets are booked. So he was feeling very nice. Now I got it, all the reasons. So finally that moment came, and so he was face to face with Srila Prabhupada, and he offered his obeisances, and he very briskly and confidently said, Srila Prabhupada, please tell me how I can serve you. He thought Prabhupada would tell him that you become the temple president, and then he has all the answers. Prabhupada said, I want you to take sannyas. He was completely thrown back. So sannyas, because that is not in his syllabus, right? So he doesn't know what to do. So he was telling Prabhupada, I just recently got married a few years ago. Now I have a 6-month-old child. Prabhupada, no, who will take care of them? Who will put it? Don't worry. No, I will take care of them. I will take care of your family. And Srila Prabhupada, then my senses are not under control. What should? No, you just take sannyas. We take associate with all your god brothers. It will not be any difficult. We will provide you all the support. And like that, so many excuses he was giving. And Prabhupada was giving answers to everything. He was very frustrated. Finally, he said, Prabhupada, please, what should I do? I'll do anything. But I cannot take sannyas, but I will not do anything. Prabhupada said, become temple president. So he was thinking that he is the protector. Intellectually, he is going to protect himself from taking that responsibility, that accepting what was favorable. He did not see that what was going to be favorable because it was coming as an order from the spiritual master. So he was. So when we come across some opportunity or some responsibility that is being given to us, we always think, we try to protect. Protection in the sense, not something big. We try to protect our little comfort. We try to protect our little convictions, our little easygoing way of life. If I take this service, then I will have to sleep 10 minutes less. If I take up this service, I will have to travel 2 kilometers more. If I take up this service, I have to maybe some small things, I have to meet few, people and talk to them and distribute few extra books like that. So that is our level of protection. Of course, some of us take more responsibility. We have larger feelings of risk. So, but the idea of surrender involves the first two things. In order to accept what is favorable, and in order to reject whatever is unfavorable, as long as my protection, my safety, security is not compromised, is not surrender. Accepting what is favorable, rejecting what is not favorable, even if my safety, security will be compromised, that is called surrender. So, an aspiring devotee, all of us, how we can understand, how we can practice this mood, that we will be able to have this conviction. Now, all these lifetimes we have been making our own arrangements. How to develop this conviction that Krishna is the person who's capable of giving us protection, and not all people who are capable are going to give it to us. And how to have that guarantee that Krishna will protect us, or maybe what if he is little too busy? There is this little story that I heard from Gaurang Prabhu. Once Krishna was in Dwarka, was taking some bhoga, and Rukmini Devi was serving him, fanning him, and very calmly was taking that bhoga, and suddenly he had a startle, and then he started running. And Rukmini Devi was asking, Prabhu, where are you going? Where are you going? He said, then he suddenly put a sudden break. He stopped. And then, okay. And he came back and he resumed his taking the bhoga. And Rukmini Devi asked, what happened? You just hurried so swiftly and then suddenly you came back. He said, no, there was one of my devotee was being attacked by a dog. He was chanting Krishna, Krishna, calling for my protection. So I had to go to help him. Then Rukmini Devi said, okay, then what happened? Suddenly you turned around and came back. No, he suddenly he bent down and picked up a stick. Then I thought, okay, then he's okay. Then I don't need to really hurry up. So then I turned around and came back. So it's not that we should not bend down and pick up a stick or pick up a rock when dogs attack. We have to. What we have to understand is that Krishna is conscious of everything that we are going through, everything that we feel, everything that we will. That's why in the spectrum of developing consciousness, Krishna consciousness is the highest consciousness, is the ultimate consciousness. Just like in that example of Srila Prabhupada, being such a pure devotee who's constantly intimately associating with Krishna, Srila Prabhupada's consciousness is also so exalted that he knew what this devotee was going to say. So he had another approach of asking him to take sannyas and then making him accept to become the temple president. So Krishna's consciousness is complete, it is full. We should never have a doubt that what if Krishna is too busy to know and attend to my need for protection. And our Shastras, primarily Srimad Bhagavatam, is full of instances where Krishna is going totally out of his way to give protection. In this shloka that we read today, therefore, with one-pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of God, who's the protector of the devotees. In the beginning part of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is the mention of, in fact, this is the first shloka where the protection by the Lord is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Why do we need protection? We need protection. Okay, everybody outside in the material world are all constantly struggling for protection, but in Krishna consciousness, it should be jolly life, right? Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. But Bhagavatam from first canto till 12th canto repeatedly mentions the word protect or protection many times. Such a Amalam Puranam, transcendental literature, because that means that Bhagavatam is completely applicable to all of us who are struggling in the material world, even though it is a transcendental literature. And in fact, the one thing that will keep us from completely giving ourselves, completely getting absorbed in Shrotavya Kirtitavya, in hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, is the risk that we may feel for our protection, the feelings for the need for protection. And from the beginning of the creation, it is all about protection. When Lord Matsya came, and he was basically protecting the Manu and the species and the Vedas. So in every incarnation that Lord comes, he is providing protection. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions that yada yada hi dharmas. Whenever there is decline in religion, I come to protect my devotees. When there is too much adharma, I come for the protection of devotees. And so much so, even in Vrindavan, Krishna is constantly protecting his devotees. And Krishna is always the protector of his devotees. Here in the first canto, Kunti Devi is praying to Lord Krishna that, whenever we have difficulties in our life, you are always there to protect us. Now we are comfortably settled, but you are leaving us and going. So she was completely cherishing and feeling grateful for the protection that the Lord was giving. And in her own family, when Ashwatthama was attacking Maharaj Parikshit inside his mother's womb, Krishna entered Uttara's womb and protected Parikshit Maharaj. So there also Uttara's praying, Pahi Pahi Mahayogin Deva Deva Jagatpate. She's crying and praying to Lord Krishna that you are the protector, please save my child. And the Srila Prabhupada mentions in that purport that Lord Krishna is the only shelter of fearlessness for the surrendered soul. There is no other shelter. And later on, when Ashwatthama was becoming more aggressive, trying to destroy Parikshit Maharaj, he even lifted his Sudarshan Chakra. Already he broke his vow. When Arjuna was coming under severe attack from Bhishma Dev, Krishna broke his vow and lifted the weapon to protect his devotee, Arjuna. In fact, the devotees, the pure devotees' faith in Krishna's protection is so deep that there is this time when Duryodhana was very upset, very dissatisfied with Bhishma Dev's partial. He thought Bhishma was partial, so he was accusing Bhishma Dev that he is not doing enough to defeat the Pandavas. So Bhishma took a vow that, give me 5 arrows, and he chanted a few mantras, and he said that with these 5 arrows, tomorrow I'm going to kill the 5 Pandavas. And so Duryodhana was very happy. And but then Duryodhana had his own doubts, so he took the arrow from Bhishma Dev, and then he kept it with him for safekeeping. On the Pandavas' camp, Krishna was having a restlessness, and next to Krishna in the bed, Arjuna is peacefully sleeping. Krishna was shook Arjuna. Arjuna, wake up, wake up! How can you sleep? There is such a big danger coming. How can you sleep? And Arjuna said, "My dear Krishna, what happened in the middle of the night? Why are you're not sleeping and you are waking me up? What happened? Don't you know there's going to be a big problem?" I said, "What big problem?" Bhishma has taken a vow that he is going to kill all of you 5 brothers with some special empowered arrows. And Arjuna said, "So what? What do you mean? So what? It's a big threat. Yeah, you are there. You are going to protect, right? So that's your department. So I'm going to sleep." So Arjuna, even though we read in the Bhagavad, we are reading in the Mahabharata about the kind of valor he was demonstrating, the kind of efforts that he was putting, but still deep inside, he was completely convinced that it is all because of Krishna's protection. Later on, when he was returning from Dwarka, after the members of the Yadu dynasty destroyed themselves, each other, then when Yudhishthira Maharaj asks what happened, what did you see? How are the relatives there in Dwarka? Arjuna tells Yudhishthira Maharaj that I could not even protect the ladies I could not even defeat the simple cowherd men, And when Krishna's protection was there, I could really face great generals like Drona and Bhishma. But now that Krishna is gone, I'm not even able to, overcome ordinary nomads. So a sincere devotee, a pure devotee is always convinced about Krishna's protection. Now, so when we remember all these things, it becomes very easy for us to develop our faith and conviction in the protection of the Lord. One of the 10 subject matters of the Srimad Bhagavatam is Poshanam. In fact, the entire 6th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam is dedicated to describe how the Lord protects his devotees. In Dhruva Maharaj's pastime also, when he was being attacked by the Yakshas, in fact, even before that, when he was just in the forest performing severe austerities, Dhruva Maharaj was a 5-year-old boy. He did not know all these great scriptures. He did not know the shlokas. He did not even know the pastimes, but he had only one conviction that my mother told me I can find the Lord in the forest. We don't even know if he understood the risks of being in the forest. Even if he did not know while entering the forest, in a few hours he would have figured out, listening to all the lions and tigers roaring. But he was convinced because the pain of the offense that he went through was really burning his heart. And with that conviction that Krishna will definitely protect, I am definitely going to see the Lord. He was very sure. Now, if I get eaten by some wild animals, Krishna may come, but I won't be here to see. So me seeing the Lord is not going to happen. But I am so deeply convinced that I will certainly get the darshan of the Lord. That means I have to be alive, right? That means my protection is guaranteed. And later on, when he was being attacked by Yakshas also, the sages come and tell him that in your case, the Lord is your protector. The Lord was your protector. He protected you among all those wild animals. And but here you don't have to feel threatened by these magical, mystical weapons of the yakshas. In fact, in that place, yan namadheyam abhidhaya nishamya chadha, the sages tell Dhruva Maharaj that the protection that the Lord has been giving you, you can have simply by chanting his holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The sages tell him that the Lord is Sharanga Dhanva. He is the wielder of the Sharanga bow. But the name, the holy name of the Lord is just Lord himself. So the protection that you get will not be any less when compared to the protection personally being given by the Lord. And a devotee is always protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada says in that purport that only by the inspiration of the Supreme Lord, the sages come and tell him. When he was young also, only by the inspiration of the Supreme Lord, sage Narada Muni went to the forest and gave that instruction to Dhruva Maharaj. Later on, the pastimes of Prithu Maharaj also, when Prithu Maharaj appeared, the assembled sages glorify that he has come simply for the protection of the citizens of the world. He was the king of the world because the generations before Prithu Maharaj did not provide the required protection for the citizens. And when it comes to the protection by the Lord, sometimes we seek protection from so many other, not just material elements, material acquisitions or material energies or power, sometimes material personalities also, you know. And Gajendra's in Gajendra's pastime, the 8th canto, there is this mention, Gajendra, after struggling with the crocodile for many thousands of years, he realized that this massive strength of his body is not enough to protect him. No. When the king of the elephants saw that he was under the clutches of the crocodile by the will of providence and being embodied and circumstantially helpless, could not save himself from danger. He was extremely afraid of being killed. He consequently thought for a long time and finally reached the following decision. What is the decision? That I should seek the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he not only strength, even though personally he was very strong because he was the king of the celestial elephants, he had many powerful associates, many other big, massive, strong elephants who are like generals, and his own offsprings in his family who are also very powerful elephants. And there, Gajendra mentions that all of them are simply standing on the banks of the lake and are feeling so helpless. They are not able to protect me. At the best, some of them are probably trying to reach the tip of my tail with their trunks. What is that support when compared to the massive strength of the crocodile of Kala, which is dragging me into the water? So Gajendra is saying that all these family, friends, and relatives, they are helpless. It's not that they will not, even if they want to, even if they're trying against the power of the material energy, they will not be able to help. So then I should take shelter of the Lord of the material energy, who's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Now, when compared to, even though because Gajendra was the celestial elephant, he had access to so many other celestial personalities, so many demigods. He could have taken shelter of many other demigods. But then in the 5th canto, there is this beautiful shloka where Lord Shiva says about his position, his ability to protect, Bhaje bhajanya ranapada pankajam bhagasya kritsnasya paramparayanam Bhakteshwalam bhavita bhavanam bhavapaham tva bhava bhavameshwaram. Lord Shiva says, "Oh my Lord," he's telling Mother Parvati, while describing the Lord's glories, he is telling, "Oh my Lord, you are the only worshipable person, for you are the supreme personality of Godhead, the reservoir of all opulences. Your secure lotus feet are the only source of protection for all your devotees, whom you satisfy by manifesting yourself in various forms. O my Lord, you deliver your devotees from the clutches of material existence. Non-devotees, however, remain entangled in material existence by your will. Kindly accept me as your eternal servant." This is Lord Shiva's statement. Lord Shiva is telling that your secure lotus feet are the only source of protection for all your devotees. Even when the demigods are making their prayers to the Supreme Lord, they all say that our limited ability to protect our followers is all given by you. Without your empowerment, we will not be able to protect our own followers, the demigod worshippers. And in the 6th canto about the Lord's protection, there is this shloka where uh, it is said, the comparison is made to the protection given by any entity other than the Supreme Lord. Avismitam tam paripurna kamam svenai valabhena samam prashantam vinopasarpatyaparam hi balishaha swalangulena tiritarti sindhum. The translation is in the 6th canto, 9th chapter. Free from all material conceptions of existence and never wonderstruck by anything, the Lord is always jubilant and fully satisfied by his own spiritual perfection. He has no material designations and therefore he is steady and unattached. That Supreme Personality of Godhead is the only shelter of everyone. Anyone, listen to this, anyone desiring to be protected by others is certainly a great fool who desires to cross the sea by holding the tail of a dog. It is compared like that. So when we feel insecure, depending, or when we have our struggles, when we have our hesitations, when we have our doubts, to surrender to the Supreme Lord, taking shelter of him. When we think that our acquisitions and our establishments will protect us, when we think different other personalities will protect us, it is simply trying to cross the ocean by holding on to the tail of a dog. Dogs can swim, but I don't think they can take us across the ocean. So whenever we feel that I should keep this, that service, or that today we have to, the morning when I do japa, I have a tendency, that urge, like vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, like there's a mobile vegam. This deep urge is there to take the mobile and see, check the messages, what is happening in the devotee community. What is happening? What is happening? Some notice, some announcements from the temple. It's a Krishna conscious activity, right? But then from there it goes the next step, next step, next step. Then by the time we realize that we have not moved some of the beats, even though we are chanting several mantras, we are not reading temple notifications. So we are reading Bollywood news. So it just goes from, that's how the content, that's how the whole technology is designed to take us from something apparently very okay, very nice, very useful, to something that is very, very useful for them. And we just end up becoming completely a consumer. We get consumed by their greed, by somebody else's lust, by somebody else's arrogance. And so taking shelter of anything else is like holding on to the dog's tail and trying to cross. But taking shelter of the Lord is like what? Bhavam budir vatsapadam. It is mentioned in the Bhagavatam that when we take shelter of the Supreme Lord, this huge, vast ocean of the material existence, full of birth, old age, disease, and death, and all the threefold miseries, is reduced to the water contained in the hoof print of a calf, which is just about this much. How difficult it is for us to cross over the water contained in the hoof print. It's very, very easy. Recently, some last month, 2 months ago, we and I move around a little bit on two-wheelers. Some of you move around on two-wheelers. When there are puddles of water on the road, how much we struggle to avoid. You know, and so much a lot of people I've seen them doing circus. Their legs are up and their legs are out, and they all kinds of they're making it very unsafe. So this just little puddle of water. Imagine it was just a little depression of the hoof print of the calf, water content. How would we even think? No. That is how easy it is if we take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, to cross over any obstacle in our practice of bhakti. And for sure, with the prayers of the devotees, the Lord came to provide protection. The Lord has never failed to provide protection. That's Lord's guarantee. No, Name Bhakta Pranashyati. Declare it boldly, Arjuna, that my devotees will never perish. I will never give up on my devotees. So, in that example of Krishna and Dwarka and Rukmini Devi is also the Lord left his meal. The Lord did not even bother to answer the question of his eternal consort. His one and only Ekena Manasa is totally focused on providing protection to his devotees. The Lord is completely, totally committed to providing protection. With that conviction, we can be rest assured that the Lord will definitely take care of us. Now, will the Lord protect only devotees? No, the Lord will protect anyone. You see, in the case of Bali Maharaj, even before that, when Aditi was praying, he promised to Aditi that I will come to protect your sons. I will try to restore, or I will restore what they lost. So Vamandev appeared. Now, he came to protect the demigods. He defeated Bali Maharaj. He destroyed Bali Maharaj. It didn't happen. I'm just saying he could have destroyed Bali Maharaj and kept his promise of protecting the devotees. But even in that process, the Lord is so wonderful that he provided wonderful protection to apparently a demon. Why? Because Bali Maharaj showed an inclination to surrender. How is that? Shukracharya was warning Bali Maharaj. This is Vishnu himself. He has come to cheat you. Chalayase Vikramane Bali Madbhuta Vamana. He has come to cheat you. He has come as the supreme cheater. He is presenting himself as an ordinary Brahmana boy, but he is Lord Vishnu. He is going to take everything away from you, what you have worked hard to achieve. He is going to take everything away from you and give it to your enemies, the Devas. But then somehow, because of his Sukrutis, because of his connection to Prahlad Maharaj, he thought, if the Lord is so powerful, if he can be so wonderful, coming like a very cute and sweet Brahmana boy, and effortlessly take everything and give it to him, give it to them, that they were simply because they are his devotees, what if I become his devotee also? So the desire to surrender to the Lord came. Immediately the Lord completely decided, okay, I'm going to protect you. Not just ordinarily protect you. Okay, Lelia, okay, you go. I leave you. Go somehow survive. The Lord did not give that kind of protection. The Lord offered Bali Maharaj a spiritual planet within the material world. Not only that, supplied it with profuse wealth, more opulent than Lord Brahma's planet. Not only that, he personally went there promising, I'm going to stand at your gates and protect you. If you have any fear that Devas will come becoming envious of you, trying to take away your wealth that I have given you, don't worry, I am standing here at the gate. So many times Bali Maharaj again and again attacked the Devas and plundered the Devas and chased them away from their homes. But what if I become a devotee? Just one thought. The Lord completely gave himself personally and became a watchman. So that is the beauty. That's the extent to which the Lord offers protection. So if we remember these wonderful episodes, wonderful instances and pastimes of the Lord where he is protecting the devotees, then it is very easy for us to take shelter of the Lord and accept whatever is favorable and reject whatever is unfavorable. Otherwise, we will take whatever is safe and reject whatever is not safe. Not we will not be able to accept whatever is favorable and reject whatever is not favorable. So whether we are going to accept and reject based on favorable or accept and reject based on our convenience and our safety. So now coming to the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord personally gave protection to so many devotees there. In fact, there's one pastime of Shivas Thakur. After Mahaprabhu left Navadvip taking sannyas, Shivas Thakur, many devotees, including Shivas Thakur, they did not feel comfortable. They were not very happy staying in Navadvip because they were feeling intense separation from the Lord because they spent so many years seeing the wonderful pastimes of the Lord in Navadvip. And Shivas Thakur shifted to Kumarahatta. When Mahaprabhu was traveling, he went there to Kumarahatta. And there, Shivas Thakur was not specifically any occupation or anything. He was just absorbed in remembering Krishna, chanting Krishna's name. So Mahaprabhu asked Shivas Thakur, how are you maintaining your family? Because this is a new place. It takes time to get established and all those things. And Shivas Thakur he clapped his hand 3 times. Mahaprabhu asked him, I'm asking you a question. You are not answering. You are clapping your hands. How will you maintain and protect your dependents? Shivas Thakur again clapped his hands 3 times. I don't understand your behavior. Can you please explain? And Shivas Thakur said, I am your devotee. I'll clap my 3 times when I need something and Krishna has to provide. If he doesn't provide, I'll tie a rock in my neck and I'll jump in the Ganga. So that was Shivas Thakur's conviction that the Lord will definitely protect. And we would like to sing one bhajan by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. In fact, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written a book of poems named Sharanagati. One of the songs that he has written is titled Avashya Rakhive Krishna Visvaso Palana. We can play that, project that. We don't have any projection here. If you have mobile phones, you can pull it up. Ekona Bujinu Prabhu. Then we'll briefly discuss about the mood of Bhaktivinoda Thakur in this particular song. If you search on Google, Ekona Bujinu Prabhu. Ekona Bujinu Prabhu. Tomara charana. Ekona Bujinu Prabhu. Tomara charana. Ashoka bhayamrita purna sarvakshana. Sakala chadiya tuva charana kamale. Sakala chadiya tuva charana kamale. Podiyachi aminata tava padatale. Podiyachi aminata tava padatale. Tava pada padmanata Rakshibeya Mara. Pada Padmanata Rakshibeya Mara. Ara Raksha Karta Nahi E Bhava Samsare. Ara Raksha Tava Nityadasa Janino Ebara Tava Nityadasa Janino Ebara Amara Palana Bhara Ekona Tomara Palana Bhara Dukkha Paiyachi Swatantra Jivane Dukkha Dure Gelo Opadavarane Dukkha Dure Gelo Opadavarane Je pada lagiya Rama tapasya korila Je pada paiya Shiva Shivatvalobila Je pada labiya Brahma Kritartha hoila Je pada Narada Muni Hridaye Dorila Se abhaya pada chirete dhoriya abhaya pada Parama anande nachi pada guna gaya Samsara vipada hoite avasya uddhar Bhakati vinoda pada koribe tomar Bhakata vinoda Kona bujinu Prabhu Tomara charana Ashoka Bhayamrita Purna Sarvakshana Here, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is praying, I know now your divine feet are a refuge, free from all sorrow and fear, eternally full of sweet nectar. At the soles of these feet, lotus feet, I surrender myself and all I possess. O Lord, there is no other protection but you in this world of birth and death. At last, I know myself to be your eternal servant, whose maintenance you have assured. Life before without you held nothing but sorrow. Now I live free from all misery. Lakshmi, desiring such a place at your lotus feet, executed austerities. Only after securing a place by your lotus feet did Lord Shiva attain his Shivatva, or quality of auspiciousness. Upon obtaining those feet, Lord Brahma became successful in life, and the great sage Narada Muni held those 2 feet in his heart. Your lotus feet drive away all fear. Having held them to my head, I dance in great ecstasy, singing their glories. Your lotus feet will deliver Bhaktivinoda from the perils of worldly journey. So here, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is expressing his mood of how the shelter of the Lord, the protection by the Lord is so complete. Ashoka, Abhaya, Amrita, then Purvakshana. Taking shelter of the Lord, placing ourselves at the lotus feet of the Lord is the only source of Ashoka, giving away all sadness, Abhaya, giving away all fear. It gives us immortal feelings. And with this faith, when we approach devotees with folded hands, saying, how I can serve you, then that is the meaning of really placing ourselves at the lotus feet. Placing ourselves at the lotus feet of the Lord means completely engaged in the service of the devotees of the Lord. That is the only way we can experience the lotus feet of the Lord, by serving the devotees. Now, next one. Sakala chadiya tuva charana kamale podiyachi aminata tava padatale. Here Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that I surrender to you with everything that I possess. It's not that he is surrendering, but he's not mentioning anything about what he possesses. One time when Srila Prabhupada was traveling in a train in India, and Solnas Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Giriraj Maharaj were with him, and at the time when sadhus are there, people like to come and take blessings of the sadhus. There's one businessman approached Srila Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, please give me Ashirwad. And Prabhupada looked at him and said, do you really want my Ashirwad? He said, yes, Swamiji, I really want your Ashirwad. Then Prabhupada looked at Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Giriraj Maharaj and said, if I give you my Ashirwad, you'll become like them. Is it okay? So he said, he hesitated, he was fumbling, and he said, I'll come some other time, Swamiji, and then he went away. So people want to surrender, but all the things that they have acquired and kept as protection for them and their dependents, they still remain as protection. But what we discussed in the first part is that the Lord is the only protector. Nobody or nothing else. And Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, when Mahaprabhu met them in Bengal, he told them, you should go to Vrindavan and excavate and re-establish the places of Lord Krishna's pastimes. And for the background that Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, they exactly knew what that seva was. It's not that you go and then just hang out and somebody will come and tell you something. No, there was nothing in Vrindavan. There was nobody. It's not that we go and ask somebody, can you please give me some seva, and we do a little bit and then take prasad and dance and kirtan. No. Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami were asked to go and basically start from scratch. Establishing holy places means what? We are establishing a holy place. We have a holy place here. Right next, we are establishing another holy place. It takes some things, right? It takes a lot of resources. And Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, when they decided to follow that instruction of Mahaprabhu of going to Vrindavan and establishing the holy places, they went to the bank, they made cashier's check of all their wealth, and they traveled because it's safer. On the way, there will be lots of dacoits. Did they do it? No. Chaitanya Charitamrita describes that 7 boat loads of wealth, mostly gold brick, gold bars and gold coins. 7 boat loads they gave away when they started for Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu didn't tell them, you go empty-handed. He just told them, go to Vrindavan. It makes a lot of sense. When Mahaprabhu's given them instruction to go to Vrindavan, establish holy places, they should take some things, right? And it so much so that Sanatan Goswami's secretary's servant had kept a few gold coins for extreme emergencies. Sanatan Goswami, in a beautiful pastime, he made him give that away also. They reached Vrindavan with nothing. But then eventually Sanatan Goswami Pad established Madan Mohan temple and Rupa Goswami established Radha Govind temple. But historically seeing, I heard from Gaurang Prabhu that Sanatan Goswami Pad and Rupa Goswami Pad, they did not see their respective temples in their complete form. So, but then what did they do? And it is described that the first thing that they did in re-establishing the pastimes of the Lord in Vrindavan was they became Krishna conscious. They chanted Hare Krishna. They established the atmosphere of surrender and seva in Vrindavan. The mood of seva is very, very important for the holy place to flourish and shine. It is indeed very difficult to establish a holy place, but that holy place will remain a holy place only when we have the feeling of surrender and seva. Otherwise, the holy place will become a place. It will be a very big place, nice place. The holiness depends on the mood of the devotees. So they got this teaching perfectly well from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and in Vrindavan, they established this mood. But despite all that, now few decades later, a century or so later, those beautiful monuments of the Lord's pastimes were attacked by Aurangzeb. These Goswamis are expansions of Manjaris from the spiritual world, and they established those temples. We are hearing about the Lord's protection, right? The Lord did not protect his own temple established by his own intimate associates. Then we are having big class and so many discussions about the Lord will definitely protect, the Lord will definitely protect. How to understand this? Having said all these things, the nature of the material world is that it will always be constantly challenging for each and everyone, including pure devotees. Srila Prabhupada, pure devotee, do you think he did not have any challenges in his manifest pastimes? No. He wrote purports to the Bhagavad Gita, which the manuscripts got stolen, not just once, twice, multiple times. And he was all alone, struggling, wandering the streets of New Delhi and Jhansi, trying to establish an association of devotees. And when he was in America, he was staying with hosts who are not so understanding of the sensitivities of a Vaishnava. That was very challenging. Now we have very, very comfortable environment for our practice of bhakti. In fact, the modern world, anybody that had significant challenges to establish God consciousness, Krishna consciousness, it is only Srila Prabhupada. The kind of challenges that Srila Prabhupada experienced, we cannot even fathom. For many centuries to come, there is not going to be anything similar to that. So, even though it was the holy place established by the Lord's intimate associates, it was still raised. The deities had to be secured, hidden somewhere. Temple got destroyed, more than half. So many devotees lost their lives. So that is the nature of this material world. But at the same, Hare Krishna, challenges. So now what should we do when we surrender? Sakala chadiya tuva charane kamale. So we need the guidance of the spiritual master and senior devotees, even in the process of surrender, in the process of taking shelter of the Lord. So in that mood, when we take shelter of the Lord promises that he will always protect his devotees. And what is that mood? Amit tava nitya das, janinu ebar, amara palana bhara ekono tomara. Excuse my Bengali. The burden of my protection is yours. It's yours, just like Arjuna in that little story we discussed. It's not even my concern, it's your responsibility. I'm not even going to think. How many of us are willing to stop thinking about our protection, our well-being from now on? Now, this beautiful pastime in Vrindavan, in Barsana, I've heard, there was one Babaji, very senior Babaji, who was staying there, one devotee who was staying with him. There was some rumor or some news that one man-eating leopard was spotted in the village. So this Babaji every day would sleep just under a tree. This one day he took a small stick, very thin stick. A child also can easily break it. He took it and kept it near his head while sleeping. So his associate asked him, Babaji Maharaj, what is this new thing? Why is this stick? Oh, you didn't hear? There is a man-eating leopard in the village. That's why I'm keeping this stick. So it's like, where is a man-eating leopard and where is this little stick? He said, what can this little stick to do to protect us from the leopard? No, this is our effort. The rest is Krishna. Krishna will protect, but I also have to do something, right? So there's this little stick. This Babaji was so absorbed in Krishna bhajan that he didn't want to go make any arrangement more than just taking a stick from nearby and keeping. So whatever is our degree of absorption in Krishna or lack thereof, to that extent, we have a tendency to make our own arrangements. And the moment the devotee went and picked up the stick, Krishna said, okay, I think he's going to protect himself, or at least he's going to try. So let him try. So when we try to protect ourselves, Krishna says, okay, you try. I'll come a little later. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, I'm not even trying. It's yours. I'm going to be completely absorbed in your pastimes, in your holy name. The burden is completely yours. So should we try or no to protect ourselves? Yes. Yes. Correct. Do our best, leave the rest. Not at the cost of? Yes, not at the cost of losing our sadhana. Now, Babaji was totally absorbed. He didn't want his absorption to be disturbed by the arrangement. Now, when we think that I don't have to make any arrangement, in that time of making the arrangement, are we going to be absorbed in Krishna or watching cricket? Right? So now we can decide whether we have to make that arrangement or no. So if you are going to be totally absorbed in Krishna, then minimal arrangement is okay. But Krishna will protect. I'll go and see some movie and come. Krishna will not protect. So Krishna will protect, but it will take after some nice episodes and giving us few slaps here and there. Then Krishna will protect. It's not that Krishna will not protect. Krishna will always protect. But what we go through to gain that protection. So that is how we should try to. So the idea here is absorption in Krishna consciousness. And the idea of surrender, the goal of surrender is absorption in Krishna consciousness. The goal of accepting what is favorable, the goal is rejecting what is unfavorable, rejecting what is unfavorable. The goal of having this faith that Krishna will definitely protect us is all for the sake of absorption in Krishna consciousness. That is the ultimate goal for all the devotees. And for the sake of that absorption, whatever we have to do, we will follow. No? Bado dukha paiyachi swatantra jivane, dukha dure gelo opada varane. Without you, swatantra jivane, when I was independent, when I was trying to make my own arrangements for my safety, protection, and maintenance, bado dukha paiyachi. I got too much dukha, too much misery I got. Dukkha dure gelo opada varane. But the moment I surrendered to your lotus feet, all that misery went dure gelo, went very far away. So, yes, we are not absorbed in Krishna consciousness so much, Prabhu. So I think I still have to get some more promotions. I have to get some more increments. I have to make some more savings. I have to make some more, so many other kinds of arrangements. I have to, raise the family, educate the children, all those things, because I'm not absorbed. Yes, we had to make, but then Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that Swatantra Jivana, you got Bado Dukha. So it's not that not being absorbed in Krishna consciousness gives us permission and blessings to make our arrangements. We will have to, but the part of the package is Bado Dukha. The arrangement will support. It will provide the necessary support, but it comes with Bado Dukha. We are okay with that? We have been okay with that all these years. Now we are saying, no. And today morning, till last 2 hours ago, we were okay with that dukkha. That's why we were making so many of, not all of us, most of us. But once we take shelter of Krishna, that dukkha goes far away. Maybe a few would have experienced this at few instances by Krishna's mercy, by the mercy of the spiritual master, taken shelter of Krishna and immediately felt that relief, dukkha going very far away. Right? Any of us have had this occasional momentary experiences of taking shelter of Krishna and immediately feeling relief? Yes. In the last 4, 5, 6, 10, 15, 20 years of chanting Hare Krishna, maybe 2 times, Prabhuji, maybe 3 times, Prabhuji. Why not every time? That's our goal. It takes time. We have to practice because that insecurity feeling is there. That what if Krishna does not protect? Krishna protects even demons. When in Vrindavan, when the Gopas were playing in the forests of Vrindavan, this big Aghasura demon was there with his big mouth wide open. And they were running into the mouth of Aghasura. And some Gopas were saying it looks like it's a cave. And some Gopa was saying it looks like it's the mouth of a big demon who's in the form of a snake. What if he devours us and destroys us? And the other Gopa said, Krishna will protect. We'll go and play. It looks like a nice place to play. Like a nice bouncy. The soft tongue of Aghasura. So, in this fairs, children play on bouncies. So, they can trampoline, correct. Trampoline is, that's the fun that Gopas wanted to have on Aghasura's tongue. So, whenever we see trampoline, we should remember Krishna's Aghasura pastime. So, they said Krishna will protect, even if he is a demon. Now, sometimes we are warned, Prabhuji, Mataji, don't do this. This is too risky. Why are you taking this kind of risks? Krishna will protect. Can we do that? Can we do that or we should not do that? That knowingly taking risks. Correct. For what? There in Vrindavan, the Gopas were, because they wanted to give, because they knew demon means what in Vrindavan. This is not the first time. Many demons have come, Krishna kills. So it is his routine affair. Now, if we don't go and he doesn't harm us, why would Krishna kill him? So they wanted to facilitate. So that conviction is that Krishna is there, he will definitely protect. And in fact, not a blade of grass moves in this world without Krishna's sanction. And particularly when it comes to us, the devotees, Krishna's personally invested, not even through his separated energies. For devotees, Krishna's personally interested and invested. So not a blade of, not a page of Bhagavatam moves without Krishna's blessings. I'm just trying to make up something else like a simile or something. So Krishna is always very, very close to us. If we sincerely want to do more sadhana, Krishna will definitely empower us. More sadhana means what? Taking time away from our protective endeavors. Right? So if we depend more on Krishna, if we work less, or if we prepare for different things less, Krishna will protect us. And how Krishna will protect us will be, who thought, even Bali Maharaj did not think that he was going to get this kind of protection. And even who thought that Prahlad Maharaj was going to be protected? About Lord's protection for Prahlad Maharaj itself is a separate class. Multiple, so many ways Krishna was protecting Prahlad Maharaj. So when we are thoroughly convinced that if we take some time and energy out of my efforts for material maintenance and apply that time in serving Krishna, by chanting Krishna's names, by reading about Krishna's qualities and pastimes, by trying to offer some service to Krishna and his devotees, definitely the amount of loss that I might incur by that compromise will be more than compensated by Krishna. The amount of loss by me not protecting myself will be more than compensated. And if some of us, if you're able to totally surrender, Krishna will completely take care of us. That is the idea of Avashya Rakshibe Krishna Visvaso Palana. So this is the third pillar of Sharanagati. And future classes, the other three pillars also will be discussed. And only whenever we come across, to conclude, whenever we come across a challenge to accept something favorable for Krishna consciousness and a challenge to reject what is not favorable for Krishna consciousness, we have to see if I am feeling threatened by a lack of security or maintenance or protection. Then I had to follow the third pillar so that the first two can be practiced well. The first two are action items. That's something we have to practice. The third one is one of the very important moods or convictions that we should have so that we can practice sadhana bhakti. So I'll stop here. If there is any comments, any questions? Under 5-6 minutes are there.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the nice class. So generally, we know theoretically that yes, Krishna always protects devotees. But sometimes this thought creeps in the mind that I am not so pure. So maybe the Lord may not protect me as much as other devotees who are practicing very nicely. So I don't want to take that risk. Let me continue to struggle, and I will see how it comes. So how do we change this mindset, or what is the answer?
Here, Bada Dukha Payachi Swatantra Jivane. That lack of faith could be there. Because of that, we may not believe that Krishna will protect, so I have to make my own arrangements. But we should remember that that is going to come with lots of dukkha. The protection comes with dukkha. Such a bad deal it is. A very unfair deal. But we still tend to take that deal. And here, one line I have heard from Bhakticharu Maharaj. He says, if there is no danger, there is no question of protection. Krishna puts devotees in danger to improve their faith, conviction, and also to prove how he protects. So it is very hard to believe that Krishna is personally putting me in danger. Krishna is thinking of me. Me? Actually, I share that feeling with you that me? Krishna is thinking of me. Even it is very difficult for us to accept that it is true. Krishna is thinking each and every one of us. Krishna is personally putting each and every one of us in difficulty. Yeah, it's very nice feeling that Krishna is personally thinking of me, but is that only to put us in difficulty? Yes, because unfortunately, at least for us, only when we are put into difficulty, we get absorbed in him. Right? So that's why Maharaj says, Krishna puts devotees in danger to increase their conviction that he is the protector. And also, Krishna puts us in danger to give us a sense of urgency. Sometimes we develop complacency. So only when some difficulties come, we become alert, become sincere. And so whether we are convinced or not, whether we believe that I am a devotee enough for Krishna to get involved or not, Krishna is involved. Even before we realize Krishna is involved, even before we started chanting our first Hare Krishna Mahamantra in this life, Krishna was involved. Even before we meet the first devotee in our life, Krishna was involved. Krishna's interest in us dates long back to our interest in him. So yes, we will never think that I am a devotee or I am a big enough devotee that Krishna will get involved. But Krishna says, think whatever you want to think. I am what I am. I will do what I do. So that gives us, we don't have to give up this feeling that I am not a devotee, that we will keep. But at the same time, even though I'm not a devotee, technically Krishna should not get involved because I'm not a devotee, but he does anyway. Who can stop him? He's Swarat.
I have one question, Prabhuji. Like, how to think like the violence that is happening in the world? That is the first question. The violence that's happening in the world. And the second question is like we hear that like devotees also like of course many devotees also says that they are protected during the accident like that. But there are some devotees who die in the accident also. So how to think these two things?
It's a very, very relevant question. We discussed about the situation in Vrindavan in the 16th century. The Goswamis' temples and their intimate associates, their devotees, their followers were attacked. The Lord's deities were attacked. No matter how merciful Krishna is, no matter how much efforts we make as devotees, the nature of the material world will remain. Not for a few years, not for a few kalpas. It's the nature of the material world. That principle is eternal. Material world is an eternally unsafe place. Material world is not eternal, but whenever there is manifestation of the material world, it will be unsafe. How much ever bhakti we do, it is not that Krishna is not capable of making the material world safe. The material world is characterized by lack of safety and danger. If Krishna has to make a material world without these problems, that world will be called a spiritual world. We're not even talking of the word material there, right? Now the the material, the creation of the material world is necessitated by our desire. We made Krishna make this material world, and then we turn around and complain why there are so many problems. If we did not have material desires, Krishna would not have had to create material world. We had material desires which could be satisfied only in the material world. So Krishna said, okay, take it. But on one condition, it will come with bhado dukkha, lots of miseries. But then I will chant Hare Krishna 16 rounds, 32 rounds also I will chant. This material world, that dukkha will not be there. No, it will be there. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, dukkha dhure gela. That's only when he was closely taking shelter of Krishna. Now, we discussed answering Prabhuji's question, Krishna puts his devotees in difficulty, so the sincerity, the urgency develops. It is both individual and collective. Now, should Krishna put me in the middle of that violence so that I take shelter, or should I see the violence on the TV happening in a different country like Ukraine or someplace and take shelter? So when we see violence a little distance away from us, hundreds of miles away, it is a warning Well, if we don't surrender to Krishna now, if we don't become serious now, we will be there. Either that violence will come towards us or we will be pushed towards that. Violence, problems, strife, misery, difficulties is what this material world is made of. If a building is built with cement and brick, we cannot complain why there is cement and brick. It's made with cement and brick. Okay. And if there is some nice color painting, some wall hanging, nice. This material world is like that. Sometimes there is some nice things here and there, like little wall hangings, nice things in the material world, but it is made of difficulties. But we should not complain. We should not complain doesn't mean that foolishly we have to keep on taking that suffering. We should take shelter of Krishna. Krishna puts us in a protective bubble. You know, is it fair only? Isn't it selfish that Krishna will protect me, put me in a protective bubble and everybody else is suffering? No, Krishna will protect everybody in a protective bubble. He is capable. If Krishna protects everybody in a protective bubble, then what's the meaning of the material world? Somebody asked Prabhupada, what if everybody becomes Krishna conscious? Then what will happen to this world? Prabhupada said, don't worry, that will never happen. Devotees will always be a small percentage, very small percentage of the people in this world. So as many devotees we can, as many people we can help to, surrender to Krishna, that's all we can do. Is that okay, Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the wonderful class, especially the point where you mentioned degree of absorption is inversely proportional to the futile efforts of arrangement that we try to make. I had a question, Prabhuji. In Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Krishna says, I give forgetful remembrance and intelligence. But in some particular situations, Krishna, instead of giving intelligence, he gives forgetfulness and doesn't give remembrance. How do we understand or reconcile this?
So is it an arrangement that before the class, whoever had questions were asked to stay here? It's the question corner. So anyway, you are saying that instead of giving intelligence, Krishna is giving forgetfulness. He said that, right? Krishna has given you the intelligence to realize that he is giving you forgetfulness instead of intelligence. You are connecting that to Krishna. You forgot Krishna and you realize that you forgot Krishna, that is intelligence. Right? So giving forgetfulness is not that Krishna is taking, of course, it is mentioned there, see, it's a poem, right? It's a Gita, it's a song. So words are used, but when Krishna is giving you forgetfulness, it is not that he is giving something to you. He's just stepping back. Forgetfulness is ours. We are made of forgetfulness. That's what we are. So he's just allowing us to realize we are forgetful. Yeah, he's propping us up constantly. One moment he leaves us and we think, oh, Krishna did something wrong to me. He's propping us up for so long. Right? So you're also almost there in the question corner.
And I just want to confirm the understanding. Like just contemplating that why we don't depend on Krishna. So when something comes or when some problem is there, so we have our own expectation of the solution. That, and we know by philosophy that Krishna is Swarat. Whatever he wants to do, he can do. It is not that he has to do what you want to get from that. So Krishna is Swarat. So he can do anything. Whether he can give what you want, he cannot give what you want also. So unless this expectation is there from that this should be happening, because I am praying to Krishna, that this is what it should. Suppose somebody is in a hospital and praying for Krishna, that so our expectation that he should get some cure. So unless these expectations are there, I feel it is very difficult to be in the state with Raksisyatiti Visvaso. Because once if Krishna doesn't give that result, then we'll get lack of faith. Why Krishna did not give? So the expectation, unless those expectations are there, can we achieve this, or we should be free of expectations from this material world to achieve this state?
Expectation is part of our being. That is that is that is one element of our individual nature. We as jivas, we have desires. We have some things. Now, that expectation should align with the atmosphere. We mentioned that we are trying to exist in the atmosphere of non-existence. So the philosophical conviction should be there from the basics of Bhagavad Gita that this material world is temporary. Okay? And if you are expecting permanence, a permanent situation in this material world, that is an unreasonable expectation. Now, despite that, Krishna can override. But then, as we mentioned in Prabhu's question, the nature of this material world will remain. Very minute flexibilities are only allowed by Krishna. That is to improve the conviction of us devotees. So Krishna is already every time making this material world's principles flexible for us. But then what is our expectation? The example of that you said, if a particular devotee is very ill and we pray to the Lord, that then the Lord should cure. We cannot cure also. No, we expect that the Lord should cure. We expect. I was hearing on Prabhupada, a clip of Prabhupada's lecture in this topic only, protection. Prabhupada mentions, I was surprised. I was thinking, what I have been hearing is different, but what Prabhupada mentioned is different here. While discussing about Draupadi's Vastraharan, Prabhupada mentioned in that particular clip that Draupadi prayed. He described the scenario, why Vastraharan happened, and then he said, Draupadi, she put her arms up and said, Krishna, if you want to protect me, you protect me. I've never heard that. I always said, Krishna, protect me, Krishna, protect me. That's all we have heard. I've never heard this yesterday. Yesterday evening, I was. If Krishna chose not to protect, since Draupadi gave the option to Krishna, either to protect or not to protect, it's unimaginable, right? But still, she prayed, if you want. So in our prayers also, Krishna, if you want, give us that, make sure there is gulab jamun for me, even though I'm running late for prasadam line. If you want. The same way, if you want, please do this to this devotee. Help with the devotee's health, with the devotee's finances, with the devotee's job situation. If you want. In that situation, if Draupadi can add that clause, if you want, we can also add that in every situation.
That's what I'm asking. Like, unless we think that we want, so this situation will not come where Rakshyatiti. But if we think that if Krishna wants, then he can do. So that means we should not have any like fixed expectation from this world that this will happen.
The expectation is not from the world. We can have expectations from Krishna. Because any relationship, there is mutual expectations. Anybody is in any relationship where there is no mutual expectation? Relationship, I don't have any expectation. You do what you want to do. I will do what I want to do. You don't ask me. I don't ask you. Is that called a relationship? That's not a relationship. That's lack of relationship. Relationship, there is mutual expectation and sincere endeavor to meet mutual expectation.
But here Draupadi is asking if you want to do, you do.
But she asked.
But asking if you want to do, you do. But she is not demanding any protection.
It's a prayer, not a demand. What's our qualification to demand? Arjuna, he did not demand. He said, you will anyway protect. Okay. Krishna won't do that. He's very, very kind. If we demand also, he will not look at the demand part of it. He will look at what we are going through. Sometimes children speak harshly to us, those who are parents. We are affected by the harsh words. But in some time, the harshness is away, then we see what is the child's feeling and then we try to address that need. Right? So Krishna is the most perfect parent. So yes, if we have to demand, if that is my level of conditioning that I will demand from Krishna, I will demand. But we have to grow out of that level of conditioning, come to a higher level where I don't demand, but pray. Yes, Prabhu.
So what you are saying, Guruji, is perfect. And I would just like to add one more small comment, which will probably help us at least aspire for that stage, wherein it's not enough to know that Krishna is supremely powerful and supremely capable. That is one aspect. But we also have to have full faith and conviction in the fact that Krishna loves us the most and he is our best well-wisher. So it's not enough to know that Krishna is all powerful and he can do anything. It's also equally or rather more important to know that Krishna, whatever he will do or whatever he will not do, will be in my best interest and he knows my interest more than me. So for example, let's say there is a small child or a teenager, and that teenager may have certain expectations about what is good for him, or he may expect the parents to behave in a particular way. However, if let's say that does not happen, right, then in one case, the teenager may become angry. But if the teenager has full faith in the father that no, my father knows more than me, my father loves me more, and my father will never, ever, even in the wildest dreams, do anything which is not good for me, then his anger will come down. Then he would not have a particular expectation from the father. So I just wanted to add this point that just as it is important to know that Krishna is supremely powerful, it is equally important to know that he is our most well, and that's where that verse comes, right? Bhoktaram Yagatapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. What is that? Surya Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shanti Dachati. So why will we become peaceful? Not only by knowing that he is Bhoktaram Yagatapasam, not only by knowing that he is Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, but also by knowing that he is Suhrda Sarva Bhutanam. You know, and therefore Draupadi has that confidence. If you want, protect me. Why? Because even if Krishna does not protect, that also was better than protecting me. He has full faith, because so that is what probably gives
that. MS Ran Mataji, you can unmute and ask question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. It's a very nice lecture about the Visvaso. Like, as you have told, as all the...
Mataji, could you please repeat again?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I was going through listening to all the questions. It's exactly what I wanted to ask, and I also got them. So I wanted to share. It is ultimately we should have the faith that Krishna will help. Krishna will. So sometimes I feel when the problem is not solved, I feel I keep telling Krishna, I think you have forgotten me. You have everybody else. You are solving the problems. Please attend to mine also. Like that's how I just tell him, you are the only. I always remember this small verse. Madeka bando mad sangin, madguro man mahadana, man nistaraka mad bhagya, madananda namostate. This one small thing I always remember and just I recite. I thought it's a wonderful lecture we had from you today, Prabhu. Hare Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, there was no question. She just made a comment. Okay. Any other? Prabhuji wanted to say something.
About how to understand whether we should try or not. I really like the emphasis which you gave that the benchmark is absorption. So if by trying, if that is helping me increase my absorption, we should try. Yeah. If by not trying, it's helping me improve my absorption instead of watching a cricket match. So that's a very good parameter to decide. Otherwise, it was always a puzzle that we say, do your best, leave the rest. But what is that line? And everybody will think, no, no, this is doing the best. Somebody else may think, no, no, this is doing the best. So we all think from our perspective, but getting such a yardstick, such a criteria is very good to objectively decide. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you very much for your kind attention and contribution and discussion. Srila Prabhupada ki, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Nitai Gaur Sitaat Premanande.
Hare Krishna.